Level 1 is a review of graphing linear and absolute value inequalities. When we graph a linear inequality, we first solve it as we would an equation. So for this first example, I distribute that negative and I get 4 minus 3 minus x is greater than negative 10. Combine like terms on the left side, and 4 minus 3 is 1 minus x is greater than negative 10. And then I would subtract 1 from both sides, and I get negative x is greater than negative 11. And then my final step to get x by itself would be to divide both sides by negative 1 to get rid of that negative out front. But remember, whenever you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative, the symbol has to flip. So I'm going to get x is less than positive 11. And on my number line, I put positive 11, and it's an open dot, and I shade where the numbers are less to the left. And in the next example, this is an absolute value inequality. The first step would be to get the absolute value isolated, and in this case it already is. And then you make two different inequalities. The first inequality, you just keep the same as what's written. So 12 is less than or equal to x over 2 minus 8 without the absolute value sign. Then the other case is when we do the negative 12. But when you do the other case with the negative 12, you have to flip the sign. So we get negative 12 is greater than or equal to x over 2 minus 8. And then we solve both inequalities. So on the left-hand inequality, I add 8 to both sides, and I get 20 is less than or equal to x over 2, and then I multiply both sides by 2, and we get 40 is greater than or equal to x. And on the other side, add 8 to both sides, and you get negative 4 is greater than or equal to x over 2. Multiply both sides by 2, and we get negative 8 is greater than or equal to x. Then I put this on the number line, and negative 8 is here, 40 is here, and x is greater than 40. So at 40, I do a closed dot because it has the line underneath, and then I shade to the right. And negative 8 is greater than or equal to x is the same as x is less than or equal to negative 8. So from negative 8, I'm going to shade to the left. And the official way to write this inequality is x is less than or equal to negative 8, or x is greater than or equal to 40. And you're going to need to give your answers in interval notation in level 1. So a reminder of how to do that. Back to example A, if I wanted to write that answer in interval notation, that would be negative infinity to 11. And since it's an open dot, I would use a parenthesis. And in this next example, part B, my answer in interval notation would be negative infinity to negative 8 with a bracket, and then union 40 with a bracket because of the closed dot to infinity. And we always use parentheses around infinity symbols.